Don't get scared.
Why would I be? You didn't even give me a refill.
Okay, so I'll ask you, what is composting?
I can't get
We're gonna have a lot of stuff to cut. Okay.
Hey guys! It's Michael Lego.
It's not like
Oh, it's not.
Hey guys, today we're going to do a quick video about composting and how we got started. All in all, composting is just taking your trash and put it in some kind of setup.
To make something else.
Exactly.
And not throw it away and not basically just put it in the landfill.
Exactly. So it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Why compost? Why do you compost?
Why did we want to do it?
Yeah, why did you want to do it?
Well, it started with my sister doing it, and it just seemed like a good thing to do. We're always talking about doing our part for the environment, and
We recycle.
well, I feel like everybody recycles, but it did feel like a bigger thing because my sister lives in an area where she can't recycle, and she could, but it's just hard. And obviously, if we're able to do that, and also, I mean, she does the composting; she can't recycle. But if we were able to do recycling and composting, we felt like we were doing a much bigger impact as far as like what we could do.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, when you compost, you get dirt, the black gold tea that they say. The black dirt, the gold?
They call it black gold.
Black gold. What do you need to compost? So we have a small backyard, very small. It's a half backyard shared with somebody else. And we got one of the bins off Amazon that was like $88. So these bins were going to be off the ground because we have too many dogs. And it was going to prevent them from getting into it. It was going to prevent rats. I was really kind of nervous about the smell, but really to compost you need some kind of section of land or area that you're going to collect all your waste, and you're just going to be turning it, let the sun hit it, and eventually it's going to turn into soil.
You basically need some sort of bin, or if you have the space, you can put it into some kind of like, basically just separated by wood or by other materials, and you can put it directly on the ground. What else do you need? You also need your food scraps.
You need your garbage. You need to be producing and not eating out of McDonald's and Burger King all the time, because you can't throw that stuff into the compost.
No, you can't.
We actually got one that has a left side and a right side, so we're adding everything to the left side. Once it's full, we're going to switch to the right side, give it a few months until it turns into its actual dirt. So would you say, is it hard to compost?
No, it's super easy. Because I'm basically just taking the stuff that I would throw in the trash and just putting it on a bin that's next to our sink. The hardest thing would be probably Googling what you can put in your compost.
True. So, what do you put in a compost?
Well, we already talked about it. Food scraps, obviously, any kind of...
She took a drink.
Excuse me. I had to take a drink.
Yeah, so your general rule of thumb is going to be, you got your greens. If it grows, it goes. And your browns, which is going to be like leaves, dead sticks, obviously not live sticks. Leaves, sticks, cardboard. If it looks like it's too wet, then you added a lot of greens, which is fine. Just add some browns. If it looks like it's too dry, add some greens. Or you can just add some water, just naturally.
Any kind of produce scraps, obviously banana peels. You can put eggshells in there. I don't think I actually saw that it was a rule or anything, but I like to rinse mine, obviously, because it says no animal products, so you want to rinse off whatever was left there from the egg yolk.
We had ours dripping for like a couple of days, but we were cleaning out our freezer, and we felt really guilty about throwing out all these old fruit bags that kind of weren't tasting good anymore. It was just frozen vegetables, frozen fruit. But instead of just throwing it out in the garbage, we went ahead and threw it into the compost, and it was dripping, but we just added some leaves and it dried it right out.
We haven't had any issues as far as keeping it moist. If anything, we just noticed that it gets too moist and we have to add more leaves or cardboard or anything.
So one thing that we noticed that whenever we were cooking at home during all this pandemic time was that all your scraps and everything that's going into the compost, the more healthier you eat, the more often you're going to be putting into the compost. So if you're eating out or you're still ordering pizza or anything like that, that's fine, but you're not going to be able to put any of that scraps or waste into the compost. If you're cutting up onions, carrots, any kind of vegetables, all those scraps that you don't use, you could put into there. There is some people who like debate about the limes, the lemons, the avocado seeds,
the citrus, avocados.
Yeah.
And they mainly geared it towards like someone who's starting a new compost. They say to not put that kind of thing in there. We really wanted to eliminate our waste, and so basically our reasoning is, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to be cringing at this, but our reasoning is that we would much rather it go into our compost and maybe have to dig it out later where it doesn't actually compost than have it go in a trash bag and into a landfill. If you start a compost because, let's say, you really want to do something for the environment and you realize you don't have anything to put in it as often as like we do, I would say we probably put something in it every day, then it's going to make you realize that you probably don't eat as healthy as you want. So, I mean, it could be something that's beneficial to you as well. What is it called? Like you self-analyze or...
A reflection. A moment of reflection.
A moment of reflection as to what you're putting in your body.
True. If you're not feeding your compost, you're not eating right.
I mean, come on, think about it. If it's not even good enough to put in your compost, why should you be putting it in your body?
Well, that's true. Yeah, so we have a bin that we bought that just goes on the little kitchen counter. It has a charcoal filter, so it doesn't smell. There's no house flies or anything around it. Basically, we thought we'd fill that up like once a week, maybe once every other week. We fill it up twice a week, and we're going out.
If not more often.
Yeah, we're going out like a lot to throw it out, the scraps, which is good, but we're eating 3 meals a day at home, so I mean, it's understandable.
That's true.
But even then, when you calculate the 2 buckets a day times 52 weeks a year, like all that's instead would be going to the landfill. It just feels good.
We also forgot to say the coffee grounds, and also the tea. We recently started drinking hot tea. Well, hot tea and making it cold. But the tea bags can go in there as well. So that's another thing. If you like to drink a lot of coffee or tea, that can go in there as well.
So we started July 30th, and we're kind of recording this about 3 weeks after, and it's getting full. It's going good. It's only half of our compost because half is filling and then half is empty, and then once the half fills, we'll let it sit. With the starter that we got, it says that it'll make compost in 6 weeks, but it's really hot, so I definitely think that helps. But truly, I don't know. If we have compost like in spring, I'll be happy. I don't care. But what I want to do is do another video updating when it actually is the black gold in there, the soil that we are ready to plant and use. We want to do another video where we plant a plant with compost, a plant without compost, trying to give it the same variables to see what the difference is and how compost can help a lot. So a couple more things to come out of this, but we're excited to get started, right?
Yeah. That's just how much it becomes a part of your routine. You just naturally, throw out your scraps, you're cooking, you're eating a snack, you put your stuff in the compost.
Yeah, I think you get excited about it, because it's like recycling, but it's like recycling food, of course.
Yeah, it's a much more active form of recycling, and then obviously it's something that you see every day, because obviously when you recycle, you put it in a bin, someone picks it up, and I mean, you don't know if everything that you're putting in the recycling is actually getting recycled.
True.
So.
And then there was the whole aspect of, some people say like, well, I don't garden, and that's totally fine. Like if you just want to do your part and put it into a compost and you're composting and you get this black gold, you ask around, I'm sure somebody's going to take that from you. Like that's really good stuff that any gardener would want, anybody who has just a house plant would want. So I'm sure if you could do that, it'd be great, but obviously if you don't want to compost, it's not a big deal. Once you see how much it adds up so fast, you're like, yeah, that all is going to the landfill. It's not great. So you feel good.
But I am curious to see like how much less trash we accumulate. because again, we already recycle pretty much everything that we can, and then now that we've taken out the food scraps and all of that.
Yeah, you feel like less guilty when you didn't eat that cucumber that just turned nasty. You can just put in your compost.
Which we still want to, like, that's obviously another goal that we have, to not waste any food, you know? Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. Why we chose a compost starter, or why we chose to do a compost starter. It's not required or anything, but it honestly, I think, at least for me, it felt kind of weird to just, let's just start throwing stuff in there. I felt like it needed something a little bit more, and I think that, I mean, the more and more we do it, I feel like, yeah, that was totally wrong to just say, I need something to start it. Mother Nature doesn't need any help. So we did choose to add a compost starter, but it is not by any means necessary. I think it's still too early to tell whether it helped. Made a difference, yeah. But what else did we want to say about that?
Well, the compost starter, I feel like it was just there, and we were getting the whole setup, so we just said, let's do it. And
also I think it's partly because we really wanted it to work, or like we didn't want to mess up our first batch.
Yeah, and about that, like the first batch has gone so smooth. I mean, there's not really, I'm not going to say there's no flies. There's like maybe 2 flies when you open it up. Maybe 2 flies.
And there are, I'm pretty sure they're maggots.
No, are there?
Yes. If you don't get worms, you're probably going to get maggots. And at this point, I am not stressing about it. You leave anything outside and flies are going to lay eggs, and there's going to be maggots. But
not a smell.
No, there's definitely not a smell. It almost smells like just like, you know, wet dirt, like right before it's like about to like rain, like when it's like the first sprinkles. That's what it smells like. It doesn't look appetizing at all, but it doesn't smell gross or anything.
So if you do think that you're thinking about a compost and you have questions for us, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you have a compost and there's things that work for you that you think we should know now, because we're just at the beginning stage, go ahead and leave a comment below too. So do you like composting?
I love it.
I love it. We're definitely going to keep doing it, and we will keep you all updated. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.